Good morning. Happy Dr. King Day to each of you. I'm Omar Brownell, and I'd like to begin our ceremony. I'm going to ask that you all rise for the singing of Lift Every Voice and Sing by our student group Confidence Choir, if they would make their way to the stage.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
You may be seated. Good morning once again. I'd like to welcome you to the 28th Annual Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award Celebration. I'm Omar Brownell, Senior Director for the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, and I consider it a privilege to serve as the MC for today's celebration. We are thrilled to gather here and demonstrate our support and advocacy for Dr. King's undying dream of equality and interracial understanding. As we have for decades, the university continues to expand and enhance our efforts to maintain a welcoming, inclusive, and culturally diverse campus. We also maintain our strong dedication to engaging students, faculty, and staff of all walks of life in learning and enrichment activities that support their academic and professional success. For nearly 30 years now, this celebration has recognized students who have exemplified their studies, immersed themselves in campus and broader community activities, and importantly demonstrated strong leadership in breaking down cultural stereotypes and bringing people together. We continue that tradition today by presenting 7 honorees with the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship. On a daily basis, these students have marked positive impacts in many areas of this campus, as well as the broader community. You will have a chance to hear more about their successes later in the program. I'd like to get things started by introducing a tremendous supporter of our efforts to create an inclusive campus environment in both policy and practice. She has worked since day one of her tenure to make this goal a prominent focus of our work here on campus. Please help me welcome our president, Dr. Ora Hurst-Peskovitz.
Well, thank you so much, Omar. So, welcome everyone, and I'd like to begin my remarks today with a special thank you to all of our sponsors. The Alice Shotwell Gustafson Keeper of the Dream Endowment, Autoleave Americas, Flagstar Bank, the Lynn and Leah McIntosh Scholarship Fund, the Marshall Family Scholar Foundation, Meritor, the Oakland University Alumni Association, Oakland University Credit Union, and Willis Towers Watson. And also thank you to our Unity sponsors, the Key Bank Foundation and St. Joseph Mercy Oakland. Please join me now in recognizing these extraordinary friends of the university and their efforts to make a lasting difference in the lives of our Oakland University students. I would also like to acknowledge now two special people. Marianne Fay, a member of the Oakland University Board of Trustees. Marianne. And Laura Murphy, Oakland County Community Liaison for U.S. Representative Alyssa Slotkin. Laura. Thank you both so much for being here and taking part in our celebration today. We really appreciate it. Well, as all of you know, at this time every year, we renew Dr. King's faith in the dream that he had for our country. And I believe that Dr. King would point to the many pressing and, yes, troubling issues that we face today, and he would ask, what is each of us doing to improve the condition of our community, of America, and of the world? And I want you to think about what each of you is doing as I make my remarks today. In 1967, nearly a year before his death, Martin Luther King Jr. was planning another march on Washington, a march to demand better jobs, better homes, and better education. It was Dr. King's strategic way of elevating the public conversation about economic inequities perpetuated by institutional and societal racism, and by a political system where those in power too often disregard their responsibilities to address the many pressing issues of the powerless. Well, you know, I actually recall those days as a time of urgency. There were protests against the Vietnam War, and there were nightly television broadcasts about the struggle for civil rights. And I also recall how the drama played out in my own family. In March of 1965, my father, Rabbi Richard Hirsch, responded to a personal call from Dr. Martin Luther King because he called on clergy in Washington, D.C., clergy of all faiths, to join him in Selma, Alabama, for a pivotal voting rights demonstration. Well, I recall being a young child, and I and my three brothers were very frightened about my father boarding a plane with 14 other clergy to go to Selma, Alabama. But my mother said to my father that he must go and do his duty and join Dr. King in Selma. She told him to do what was always his duty. And I recall my father describing how he stood in a church in Selma, listening to Dr. King provide a moving sermon. And when Dr. King finished his remarks, he turned to my father and he said, "Rabbi Hirsch, now you are next." Well, surprised and unprepared, my father quickly gathered his thoughts and drew upon his faith and spoke from his tradition. And he told the crowd, according to Jewish tradition, God created man using dust from the four corners of the earth, so that no person would ever be able to say, the place from which I come is better than the place from which you come. Well, the crowd burst into overwhelming applause, and the lesson was clear. No one is better than anyone else. No matter what the color of your skin, no matter where you come from in socioeconomic status or geography or the place of your origin. All of us have the same struggle and campaign for social justice, and that requires for all of us to participate. Well, later, in 1967, Dr. King said, I think it is necessary for us to realize that we have moved from the era of civil rights to the era of human rights. And we are called upon to raise certain basic questions about the whole society. And the issues that Dr. King tried mightily to address during his life, unfortunately, remain largely unsolved and unresolved yet today. So I ask you, why is that? Why are those issues still largely unanswered today? Is it a lack of understanding? Is it a lack of will? Or have we become complacent with our own civil rights progress? These important questions demand our attention. For instance, while the unemployment rate is often cited as an indicator of the quality of life for Americans, and we think we're doing very well in this regard, why are too many Americans still living in poverty? As of November 2019, the unemployment rate stood at 3.5% in the US, and here in Michigan at 4%. And by most economists' accounts, a lower rate, of course, means that more people are working, and having a job means that we're doing well. Yet what does not get discussed is that 5.3% of our population, or 17.3 million people, 17.3 million people is a lot of people living in poverty, in deep poverty. So today we must ask ourselves a range of questions, basic questions. Why is it that there are Americans who cannot afford or who cannot access basic health care? Why is it that there are so many children who are undernourished? How can it be that the U.S. ranks 33rd out of the 36 most advantaged, economically advantaged countries in infant mortality rate? And why have we allowed the unchecked practices of industry and obsessive consumerism to diminish our own personal health and the health of our planet? 55 years after Bloody Sunday in Selma, how is it that an equally tragic event occurred at a white nationalist rally in 2017 in Charlottesville, Virginia? And even today, today, there will be another rally in Virginia. And why is there an increase in hate crimes in 2019 and 2020 against Blacks, immigrants, transgender people, and Jews? And why are we inept at stopping these heinous crimes from happening? I really wonder, what would our world look like if more of us had heeded Martin Luther King's call to raise certain basic questions about our whole society? If history teaches us anything, it's that the American dream is strengthened when we ask those questions, basic, certain questions about the quality of justice and opportunity. So, I started out asking you a question. I want you to keep asking those questions, but more than that, I want you to start demanding answers to those questions. And then maybe each of us individually and all of us collectively will start to be able to answer, what are you and what are we doing to make this world a better place? Thank you.
Thank you, President Peskovich. It is now my pleasure to begin the Keeper of the Dream 2020 Awards recognition. Mikhail O'Neill. Mikhail O'Neill, a first-generation college student, is determined to break down cultural barriers on campus and understands that the best way to promote change is to ensure that all people have a solid foundation of support. Getting involved as a student mentor with the Center for Multicultural Initiatives was an excellent way for her to put this belief into practice. Mikhail is also involved with OU's pre-college programs, working with K-12 students in Pontiac to promote importance of higher education. She was named chapter president of Omicron Zeta chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And has been awarded the Gregory Myers Greek Leader of the Year Award. Volunteering at Housing, Move-In, and spearheading various fundraising efforts, Mikhail has helped build bridges between fraternity and sorority councils. Let us hear more from Mikhail in her own words.
It means so much to me to receive this award because it honors Dr. King's legacy. To have my work mentioned in comparison to his is a privilege. I also get to show those who look up to me that you can make it out of whatever situation you come from. A human being should not have to suffer through discrimination because of the color of their skin or any other part of their identity, because no one has control over what race they are born into, nor should they be penalized for it. The more we understand one another, the more united we will be. I'm inspired by my ancestors who came before me, who had to fight for me to be where I am. As an African American student on a predominantly white campus, I get so emotional when I think about how African Americans were not able to have the opportunities that I have because of their race. Prison reform, community policing, and minority groups being unfairly exploited. Until these issues are addressed, equality and justice will remain the order of the day. The Center for Multicultural Initiatives office has had such a strong role in my life since my time at OAKLAND began. I'm honored to have served as a core ambassador working directly with first and second year students of all backgrounds. I made sure that my mentees knew that I was the person who would be by their side to offer a helping hand and a listening ear.
We are pleased to present Mikhail O'Neill with the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award. Jennifer Medrano de la Cruz. Our next honoree is the first person in her biological family to attend a university. And she has been thrilled to be a part of a diverse and energetic campus here at OU. Jennifer has come to see that the Center for Multicultural Initiatives is home base. And it has been both prepared for her to succeed individually and to assume leadership roles, including peer mentor, success coach, and orientation group leader. Our honoree is known as a passionate supporter of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And she sets a positive example that helps other students learn to love themselves and their appearances. Those who work with Jennifer describe her as professional, engaging, caring, and uplifting. Let us now hear from Jennifer in her own words.
Dr. King endured so much because he understood the importance of identity. Society makes it difficult to love our own identities and recognize the value it holds. Receiving this award is a tremendous honor and motivates me to continue helping underrepresented groups overcome stigmas and achieve their goals. It is important to engage in discussions about how our history affects us today. Conversing about our similarities and differences helps us raise awareness of unconscious bias. It also gives us the ability to see things from different perspectives and work towards positive change. Having my mother and many other strong women of color present at all points of my life has kept me balanced and has inspired me to empower individuals within my reach through social media, student leader positions, and other platforms. Dr. King was a martyr for equal opportunities, and this dream has not yet been fully accomplished. Our day and age demands for a difficult conversation to be had about how we can achieve racial equity in all areas of life. As an orientation group leader, I was able to provide a welcoming and inclusive environment to incoming freshmen in fun and creative ways. In this position, I have helped students of diverse backgrounds find their inner ambition, feel more confident, and work towards overcoming negative stereotypes.
We are pleased to present Jennifer Medrano de la Cruz with the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award. Maya Ford. Oakland University has provided Maya Ford with endless opportunities to break free from a shy demeanor and begin pursuing big dreams. She is now a leader on campus and works to support other women in their efforts to grow, discover opportunity, and achieve their goals. As president of the American Association of University Women, Maya has helped educate campus community members on healthy relationships, signs of abusive relationships, and how to help others in unhealthy situations. Maya is also active with Alternative Spring Break and has traveled to New York and Florida to help homeless and disabled adults. This year, she plans to do similar work in Atlanta. Let us hear more from Maya.
The Keeper of the Dream Award to me is a testament to the hard work that I have done on campus and the growth that I have experienced since I came to OU. Marginalized populations have such rich experiences, but are often excluded from the mainstream story. It is important to me to work towards breaking down racial stereotypes because I truly believe that no story is complete without everyone having a seat at the table. What inspires me the most to continuously work towards breaking down racial stereotypes are the people that have previously done it before me and those currently in action. Dr. King's vision of equality is still relevant today as we seek a world where equality for all means just that. I am proud of being the president of the American Association of University Women because it allows me to work with a diverse population who all have different opinions, but all have the same goal of working together to create change.
We are pleased to present Maya Ford with the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award. Reneen Alos. A Chaldean American student studying to become a physical therapist, came to Oakland University with a desire to step outside her comfort zones and to learn more about the people in the world around her. Having become immersed in a community of people with diverse backgrounds, she has made a commitment to stand up for those who have been marginalized and discriminated against. As a student assistant in the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, Reneen has built strong relationships while providing support for impactful students. She plays a vital part in assisting CMI in diversity-related initiatives. She is involved with OU leadership and volunteers on OU mission trips that have helped people throughout the country in partnership with Give Kids the World organization. Let us hear more from Reneen.
The Keeper of the Dream Award means the world to me. I hold this award in the highest esteem. It is one important way that we as a campus community are recognizing and encouraging change surrounding diversity and inclusion. I've seen so many of my peers and close friends honored with this award, and I am immensely grateful to become a part of this amazing group of people. It is important to me to work towards racial understanding and breaking down stereotypes because I can see how it affects the people around me. I can see myself and my peers feel more comfortable, accepted, and respected in spaces that are actively working to be inclusive. My peers at Oakland University who are so passionate about creating inclusive spaces on campus are my biggest inspiration. My family and friends are my biggest supporters. The professionals in the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, whose work produces amazing results, inspire me to work towards breaking down cultural barriers. Dr. King's vision is still relevant today. Even though we have made many strides towards equality, we still have work that needs to be done. The disparities that minorities face prove that things are still not equal. Dr. King's vision is something we should all look to as we work towards achieving equality today. My most proud involvement on campus is my work with the Center for Multicultural Initiatives. This office introduced me to the importance of diversity and inclusion and provided many opportunities to work towards making our campus more inclusive. I have been able to sit on panels to discuss how I believe race relations can be improved and facilitate educational programs for my peers to help them better understand diversity.
Oakland University, we are pleased to announce Reneen Alos as the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award recipient. Donovan Hernandez. With a strong and supportive upbringing, OU junior mechanical engineering major Donovan Hernandez came to realize that the situation one is born into doesn't necessarily determine who that person will ultimately become. Through hard work and dedication, Donovan has found considerable success on campus and in the engineering world. He uses his accomplishments to inspire people of all backgrounds to discover the confidence to succeed. Described as a mature, intelligent, dedicated, empathetic, and humble young man, Donovan is a member of OU's Honors College and Outreach program. Let us hear more from Donovan.
The Keeper of the Dream Award gives me a sense of fulfillment and a feeling that I am walking in the right direction. As people, we always struggle with our inner thoughts and deciding whether we are good people and if we are making a difference or not, and an award like Keeper of the Dream gives me that reassurance. Growing up in an environment that was not racially accepting, I know firsthand the struggles of being categorized based on what you look like and how degrading and detrimental to society it is. I want to live in a world where your character and your work ethic are the first things people consider. My first inspiration towards breaking down barriers were my parents. They showed me the value of having your actions speak for you. They willingly entered a system that they knew would not welcome them, worked their way through it, and gave me access to opportunities that they did not have. Other people who inspired me include my teachers and mentors throughout the years. They taught me how to be a good person and how to treat everyone with respect regardless of what they look like. My involvement with the Engineering Outreach program is my proudest on-campus contribution. When I began the program in high school, I met professors that inspired me to pursue engineering. They saw my potential as a student, and that inspired me to pursue an engineering degree at Oakland. Now, as a teacher assistant in this same program, I can show and inspire students from underrepresented communities that they can achieve the same level of success.
We are pleased to present Donovan Hernandez with the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award. Zakia Ali James. Zakia Ali James, a first-generation college student from Detroit, knew she was entering unknown territory when she came to Oakland University. Nonetheless, she was determined to get to know people and make a positive impact. As a peer mentor in the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, she connects with people from all walks of life and helps them adapt to life at OU. She also works at Night Watch Desk Assistant in University Housing, serving as the first point of contact for residents, parents, and other visitors. Zakia is described by peers as a great mentor, advocate, and supporter. She shares a welcoming and caring personality and work with Project Big Sister, OU Student Congress, and Detroit Rescue Mission. She works at Care House as a volunteer child assistant and is president of Zeta Phi Beta's New Chapter. Let us hear more from Zakia.
The Keeper of the Dream Award means that I've made a positive impact on this campus and that I can be recognized in one of the most prestigious ways. It also means that I can further my education in the master's program here, which is very exciting. Every day, it is important for me to stand up for interracial equality by trying to first understand people's actions and behaviors and the impact they have on others. I try to use these learning moments in my life to further my own understanding of interracial situations so I can continue to promote the change I wish to see in the world. I feel like Dr. King's vision of equality is especially important today with the current racial climate. It is so important to keep Dr. King's vision alive and work towards making our world more loving, equal, and accepting. I am most proud of my involvement as the president of the New Chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. We host an array of events to provide services to the Oakland University community, such as prematurity, diabetes, and alcohol awareness. We also take part in service projects throughout various counties to reach diverse populations.
We are pleased to present Zakia Ali James with the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award. Isaias Cruz. With a strong Hispanic background, Isaias Cruz has used his fluency in oral and written Spanish to benefit others. He volunteers as both a scribe and translator to help people of different backgrounds work more efficiently and productively together. Isaias is also active with the Center for Multicultural Initiatives, a connection that helped him acquire the Oakland University Trustee Academic Success Scholarship. He is passionate in his advocacy and is well known in building relationships and motivating others. In all of his interactions, he demonstrates generosity, professionalism, and genuine concern for others. Let us now hear from Isaias in his own words.
The Keeper of the Dream Award is a living embodiment of the dream that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. promoted during his lifetime, racial equality and fairness. It also serves as a beam of light for all students, regardless of skin color, cultural background, or identity, to get a fair opportunity to succeed. My family serves as my inspiration because they have provided so many opportunities for me, despite the adversities they had to go through in coming to this country. It is through the example of my parents that I am able to acquire the strength to conquer any obstacles in front of me. I simply remember their journey, and I remember that I can be as strong as they are. I'm also inspired by the Latin American community as well as my fellow first-generation students. We are much stronger and more capable of achieving success than we think we are. We should never let anyone tell us otherwise. I am extremely proud and grateful to have served as president of the Hispanic American Leadership Organization. It was through this organization that I was able to assist in promoting Latin American culture through our language, music, food, and experiences. I am happy to have promoted the unity of Halo, the Spanish Club, and the Spanish Honor Society Sigma Delta Pi. However, I am most proud of the work that we have done with the ESL students of Pontiac High School. These students were able to learn about the process of applying for college, financial aid, and finding strength in our identity in a college setting. We were able to motivate this group in their own language to continue their studies regardless of the circumstances.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to present Isaias Cruz with the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award. Another round of applause for all of our scholarship recipients. If there are former Keeper of the Dream recipients in the audience, please stand to be recognized. Thank you. This year's award honorees would like to share a few thoughts with this year's sponsors. Please turn your attention to the video monitors to hear their message.
I would like to thank all of today's sponsors for making our scholarships possible. Our work at Oakland University will continue because of your support.
Thank you, Oakland University Alumni Association.
I would like to thank Idle Leave for sponsoring the scholarship.
Thank you to the Lynn and Leah McIntosh Scholarship.
I would like to thank the Oakland University Credit Union for making this scholarship possible.
Thank you, Willis Towers Watson, sincerely for aiding in my pursuit of keeping Dr. King's vision alive.
Thank you so much, Flagstar Bank, for your generous scholarship.
Thank you, Marshall Family Scholar Foundation, for providing the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship.
I would like to thank Meritor for making my scholarship possible. This has been one of my biggest dreams since my freshman year, to be a Keeper of the Dream recipient.
I vow to continue breaking racial barriers through leading by example and positively impacting as many people as possible.
With this scholarship, I will be able to further my education and eventually begin my dream job of doing community outreach with teens in inner city communities.
Because of you, I can continue my academic career at Oakland, as well as my work at making this campus a more diverse and inclusive environment.
This award not only supports student success, but also our greater community.
Thank you to our sponsors for being part of the Keeper of the Dream celebration. Every company has a moral obligation to give back to its communities, and using that opportunity to give back to an award that honors the sacrifices and efforts made by Dr. King shows that you have a deep respect and desire to uphold his ideals.
I am now pleased to introduce our keynote speaker for our celebration today. Lisa Leslie. A three-time MVP in the Women's National Basketball Association, as well as a four-time Olympic gold medalist. Hall of Famer. She launched a modeling career after college, started a family with her husband, Air Force Academy graduate and pilot Michael Lockwood, obtained a master's degree in business, and became author with the release of her first book, Don't Let the Lipstick Fool You. Lisa has been a commentator for ESPN, ABC, Turner, and Fox Sports Net, and is the co-host of the first all-female sports talk show, We Need to Talk, on CBS. Expanding her already diverse resume, Lisa began an acting career with cameo appearances on television shows including Martin, Sister Sister, Moesha, and One on One. She also obtained roles in feature films including Love and Basketball and Think Like a Man. 3 U.S. presidents, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama, have invited Lisa to the White House to acknowledge both her accomplishments and philanthropic work over the years. Oakland University, please show your love for Lisa Leslie.
Thank you all. Wow, I'm so excited to be here. This was just, it's amazing. Thank you. It was amazing just to be a part and listening to all the recipients. So, yeah, I was overwhelmed. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you, Oakland University, for having me. I want to thank the president. Amazing words that you had. I thought that you might have been there when I was writing my speech, so some things we may repeat, but that's okay. I thought it was awesome. I want to also thank faculty, staff, those first responders, anyone in the military, the veterans. My husband also served in the military, so I'm also thankful for all of you who protect our country and protect us every day, so thank you. I want to give a special thanks to Omar. Thank you for taking care of me. Omar picked me up, and I'm like, the snow in Detroit? Y'all know I'm a California girl. I was on the plane freaking out. I'm like, oh, Lord, I don't know. But I made it here safely. It's very beautiful. Snow is great. My son's going to be very disappointed he didn't come with me. But when I thought about this opportunity to speak on Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's Day, I said a quick prayer, to be honest with you, because I wanted to make sure I had the right words and the right term, the right tone, because I know how important it is when you talk about everything that Dr. King stood for. It's very powerful to know about that fight, about the hustle that we have, right, that all of our people have had, about our dreams that we want to achieve and be successful, but also to keeping his dream. It is a challenge for us because we're in such a time where you can't even believe that we're still discussing some of the same things that we're discussing. I don't know if you guys get overwhelmed by that, but I do. It's just amazing that we have to continue to validate ourselves based on the color of our skin. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? It's almost silly, right? We're talking about the way that we were born, and someone mentioned it, I think, on the video, the fact that we didn't have a choice, right? We're here, but I'm thankful, and you guys should be thankful for who you are as well. As I work and think about the equality, the importance of who we are, regardless of our race, our religion, our creeds, our backgrounds, our sexual orientation, we have to remember Dr. King's words that still ring in our minds and in our hearts. And as we know, he influenced civil rights and had racial discrimination that he suffered and went through that we still do today. In 2020, this fight is something that we have to continue to fight for. We really do. And we can't sit aside and think that it's someone else's fight. It's each of ours, each individual. So I think about that in all the videos that I saw. I want to say again, congratulations to all of you who are young in this fight. Fortunate that you even have to participate in it, but you do. That's just the way it is. I think about the times that I have to sit my children down and talk about some of the things that the president talked about, even the situation that happened in Virginia. I believe it was 2 years ago now, watching that on the news and having to tell then my 7-year-old son and explain to him what was happening. And I thought, wow, I can't believe we still have to reintroduce racism and inequality to our children, to another generation. But we do. We have to talk about it. And it's uncomfortable at times. But I'm also here to tell you that we have to be encouraged. We have to stay positive. We have to keep fighting. And so I thought about talking today, and I said, I have to ask the question that I want you to continue to ask, similar to the president who asked you to ask that question, but that question I say is, why not me? Why not me? I was set on this path of success, and I thought about, how did I get here with all these accolades? I mean, I did a lot in basketball and sports, and I believe that God really chose me and gave me that platform to play, because God knows, when I was a young girl, I was not the sporty girl. I was a girl on the side making sure everybody was okay, trying to get them some water, because I was a little afraid, you know. But through sports, that toughness built up in me, and that courage, and some of you, I saw in your stories, you learn to get your voice, right? And once you get that voice, you can't hold back. You got to get out there, and you got to speak, and it becomes bigger than just you. So definitely, yes, I played basketball, and I loved it, and it's given me so many platforms, but I still knew that I had to use my voice for something bigger than me. And so when I reflect and I ask that question, I think, did I get here just because I was disciplined? So there's two things when it comes to discipline. There's people that are disciplined who do what they're supposed to do, and then those of us that are self-disciplined. We do what we're supposed to do without being told. And I think, yeah, that may be a reason for some of my success. Another reason for my success is that I've always been a goal setter. I've always written down my goals. Short-term goals were goals that I wanted to achieve within 1 year. And then I would write down my long-term goals, which were goals that I wanted to achieve within 5 years. And I thought, you know, my mom had always inspired me, Lisa, you can do anything you want to do. It's going to take hard work, but you can do it. She would tell me the 7 Ps, and the 7 Ps are prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. And so with the 7 Ps, my mom was like, listen, if you study, if you try, if you work hard, if you put your mind to it, you have to make sacrifices in order to be successful. But if you do those things, you're more likely to be successful. So I always keep the 7 Ps with mom. But I keep thinking about still, as I was preparing to speak today, is it just about being self-disciplined? Is it about setting those goals? And then I said, well, I would always ask myself that question, why not me? I'm a girl from Compton, California. Now, you guys might know where Compton is now that you saw the movie Straight Outta Compton, right? Yeah, it's the inner city. And, you know, I'm speaking to folks from Detroit, so you know, we understand that we also have some challenges in some of our neighborhoods, right? We don't always get provided with the best books and education, but we have an opportunity, and whatever it is, we have to take it. So I took that opportunity. I understood the importance of education. I was raised by a single mom. You say, why not me? My mom worked so hard. I have 2 sisters. My mom was a truck driver. My mom drove an 18-wheeler truck across country. She had 2 things. She had her nails polished and her lipstick tucked in her bra. But she did a job that was tough. And to me, as a young girl looking at my mom work as hard as she did, it told me, hey, I can do anything I want to do, regardless of what the job is. But I have to maintain my femininity, because that's what mom did. So hence, if anybody ever saw me play, you knew I had on my lipstick. And that's why my book is called Don't Let the Lipstick Fool You. Because I think sometimes as women, you know, we have to get out there and we have to fight and we have to work hard, but it's okay to embrace the fact that we are women. And I say it's always a choice. We may be women, but it's a choice to be a lady, and I've always tried to choose to be a lady. Yeah, thank you. So here we go. Do we have to give ourselves permission to fight for change and what's right? Do we have to give ourselves permission to want to dream and want to be great and want to be successful? We don't have to give ourselves permission. We just have to do it. We just have to get out there and do it. And for those who don't want to make space, we have to tell them to scoot over. Make room. We're coming through. I believe there's more of us who truly love, who recognize that we are all God's children, that we are people, that there's good people and bad people in the world. I lived in Italy for a while because I was playing professional basketball there, and I had an Italian family that embraced me when I came there. They called me Grande Lisa because obviously I was large, bigger than most of the Italian folks, and Lisa is what they call me. And so I would go there, loving people, eat some great food, right? And so one time I told my Italian brother, Alfredo, I'm like, Alfredo, let's go to this ice cream shop. And he's like, no, we can't go there. And so he gives me this sign like those are bad people, right? So of course I look over, all I see is Italian people. They all look alike to me, right? Because they're all Italian. But the thing that I learned in that moment is that no matter where you go in the world, there's two types of people. There's good people and there's bad people. And we come in all different shades, colors, races, and creed. And that's what we need to know. It's not about the skin color, because how would I have known anything different? I was in Italy. They were all Italian. There's not that many black people there in Italy. So for me, how would I know the difference? But he knew, because he knew the location. He knew what was going on in that area. And so sometimes we have to recognize how silly it is to judge people based on what they look like on the outside. We have to start to recognize and spread the word and continue to spread the word that it's about two types of people. And yes, you may come into some situations where it's bad people. We've all been there. We know when it's time to cross the street or when you need to leave the place that you're in because there's bad people there. But we don't have to judge everyone based on the outside and what their skin looks like. We really got to continue to educate other people about that and making that change. And so I want to say to you, I looked up some quotes that I love. I love quotes all the time. But Dr. King said it when we're talking about being in this fight here in 2020. This quote still makes sense today. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at the time of challenge and controversy. People, we are in a time of challenge and controversy right now. But we have to also continue to fight for what is right. We know what's right. We also have to recognize the people that stand beside us, men that support women. We appreciate you. White people that support black people and brown people, we support you. We applaud you. We have to recognize that your voice is just as important for the fight as it is for our voices that are in the fight. Because, you know, I tell my colleagues all the time when I'm on We Need to Talk on CBS, we have these discussions that come up. Let's say, for example, something happened with an athlete, or something came up about abuse, or something happened with police brutality, right? So it's a topic when we're on the show. But I tell my colleagues, this is a topic for you. This is a life for me. Because when I leave here, I don't get to change to be something else. I still have to worry about my husband who's driving the car. I still have to worry about my son who's 9 years old because of the color of their skin. No one's asking them questions. No one's going to stop and pull my husband over. If a police officer pulls him over, we hope that everything goes right. Just in terms of the conversation, let's hope we get to a conversation to make sure you check. My husband has served in the military. He's represented our country. But if he get pulled over, does the officer know that? He doesn't. Are we going to have the opportunity to have the conversation to say, hey, you know, I'm a law-abiding citizen who has represented our country, but he's not in uniform in that moment. Isn't that amazing? A lot of people don't have to worry about these types of things, but we do. So I tell you, we have to continue to educate and have these conversations with all of our friends. And some people I know, some of my friends even, you're like, oh, no, I don't turn on the TV because it's so negative, and I don't like to watch it. Yeah, you get the opportunity to tune out if you want to. Some of us, we can't check out on this topic. It is our lives. Every single day, it's our life. And so I encourage you to continue to educate other people about some of the things that are struggles that we have. But some of these things are things that they need to understand, because it's not just a black thing. It's not just a white thing. It's not just a brown thing. It's a human topic that we have to try to solve this. We are all humans sharing this earth, and we have to figure out a way to get along. Now, as I think about some of the things we can do, it comes down to a word that I like to think of as choice. And choice, if you break that down, I say that the C is for competence. It's important for us to continue to educate people about what's going on. We have to watch the news, people. We have to read the paper. We have to be informed about what's going on politically in our country. We have to be involved. There's no way around it. And sometimes some of us feel like if we don't watch it and we don't participate, then it may not affect us, but it's affecting all of us. And we all have to do our part. That's just the way it is. We didn't sign up for this job, but we're here. And if we're all here and if we all try to do a little bit more to make it better, if we all do a little bit more to try to educate one another, to try to understand each other, we can do it. The H is for hard work. It's not easy. It wasn't easy for Dr. King. It wasn't easy for our ancestors. I always say, think about this. We are the survivors of the strongest ancestors that survived. Think about that. That's who we are. A lot of people have died for us to have these opportunities, for us to be educated, for us to be on these campuses, for us to have the jobs that we have, for us to live in the neighborhoods we have. Think about that. First generation, these young people who are being educated for the first time, think about that. Everybody didn't have that story. But when you think about our ancestors and they fought for it, and you mean to tell me we don't want to speak up? We're tired? We don't want to get involved? It's not an option. It's not an option. We are all a part of this fight, and we have to stand on the side of what's right. O is for optimism, though. You got to be positive. I stay positive about it. I believe that love is the key. I believe in love. I believe that we love people. I believe that just the hellos and the good mornings and the smiles and someone drops something and you help pick them up, or you see an elderly lady come in or man and you hold the door. I believe all those little things are important. Good morning. How you doing? I'll ask you, hey, how you doing? How y'all doing? Why not? Why not? We have to learn and start somewhere. Learn to speak to other people. Now, I know we have this thing sometimes culturally where we only speak to people that look like us. We got to get out of that. We got to get out of that. I know we all do it. As you know, you see somebody who looks like you, hey, how you get a little head. We got to speak to everybody. It's just those little things. It's the little things. But sometimes we do that. We don't speak to people that don't look like us. That's a little bit. It's not that hard, but it definitely takes hard work. But being positive is really important. The I is for integrity. Oh, yeah. We have to learn to be a person of our word, to work with integrity, to communicate with other people, to be supportive. I love the fact that we're in a time where women are learning to support women. That's important. Having the integrity that it takes to do a job, being a person of your word, having value and standards. Some of that's going away, and we talked a lot about millennials and the new generation, but it's important for you guys to also operate with integrity, to make sure that you're helping and giving back and doing what is right. That's what it's about. It's about doing what's right every day when people are watching or not watching. Making the right choice. I see you guys shaking your head because we know in our core we can do this. And the C is for courage. We talked about Dr. King. I mean, no one had more courage to step out. Maybe you think about a Muhammad Ali. Courage to step out when it's challenging, when everything is not going your way. Sometimes we have to speak up for others who can't speak up for themselves. When you see something, we say that saying, when you see something, say something. It rings true, but you got to have the courage to speak up. And sometimes we watch injustice happen to others. If you're sitting silently watching it happen to others, look at yourself. And sometimes some of us have positions where we have the opportunity to use our voice. We have to learn to speak up for others. And the E is execution, because sometimes we'll see it, we'll think it, but we don't always execute that and follow through. Execution is very important. As a dreamer, when you think about the things you want to do to be successful, even to help other people, execution is important. Remember that. So I think about the word choice, and choice is something that's really gotten me through a lot of the things that I wanted to do in life by making these choices, by being competent, going back to school to get my master's, by doing all these jobs. I know people always like, you have so many jobs. Well, I got 5 jobs. I love being a wife. I love being a mom. Gosh, that's a whole job in itself. But I think it's just about having and recognizing what my spiritual gift is. My spiritual gift, what I'm supposed to be doing, is speaking. That's my spiritual gift. That's what God's moved me to do. And so I try to do that even at times when I say, Lord, no, not me. I don't want the mic. That's where I'm supposed to be. And so we have to understand what our spiritual gifts are. How are we supposed to help other people? I believe that's what I'm supposed to do. We all have to look at ourselves and figure out what is our part. And sometimes it takes that idea of asking, why not me? Why not me get involved? Why not me speak up? Why not me use my voice? And I want to give you a few things that you guys can do. Why not me be the person who helps the next generation? How many of us nieces and nephews, young people, see, we're all role models. You may not be a star, you may not be on TV, but we're all role models. Somebody has a niece, a nephew, a little brother, a little sister that looks up to them, right? Raise your hand. Anybody? We all, somebody's looking at you. Someone's watching you. Why not be the person who helps someone go back to school? We all know somebody who's not in school who should be in school, right? How can you figure out how to help someone else to get their education? How about mentoring? How many of you, mentoring is huge. How many of you actually use your time to mentor someone else? Somebody wants the job that you have. Somebody wants to be where you are. We all have information. Mentorship is huge, and sometimes that gets lost in our communities. Helping out by giving back and mentoring is key for us to share information and knowledge. Also, spending time with like Big Brother, Big Sister, or the YMCA, finding ways to give back to other kids who are underprivileged. I remember what it was like being underprivileged. I remember what it was like not sure what we were going to eat. There are kids right here in our own community. Some people were like, oh, we want to send money over to, all these other countries, sweetheart. Look right here in your backyard. There are plenty of people who need help right now, who $10 and $20 would be a huge help to provide food for today. We don't have to look far to figure out how to help and how to give back. So sometimes we talk about it, and we talk about this sort of in a sweeping, like, oh, we got to give back, we got to do more. No, I want to specifically tell you things that you can do that sometimes we don't think about. What about tutoring kids for an after-school program? My mom was working. I didn't have help for school. I did not have help. I loved learning, and I taught myself everything that I know. From my math, I would study it, read it, do my little flashcards. I was just really organized and type A. But I love to learn, but there's so many kids who have parents that are working who have no help. Think about that for those of you who are educated. To give back to these kids, they need help with homework, simple homework. You can see some kids in your neighborhood. Hey, where's your mom? Your mom's at work? You should go walk down there and ask that neighbor, if your kids need help, I can help them. I'm very good in science. I'm good at math. There's ways that we can give back and impact our own communities. We have to stop looking out in the world and trying to help. Somebody else is going to solve it. We got to solve it. We have to solve it, and it can take one person at a time. You never know how one individual can impact the life of a child. You just never know. You don't know what they're going to be. You don't know how successful they're going to be. And that's not for us to know. We don't have to be like, this kid is going to be a star, so I'm going to help them. See, we can't operate like that. We don't know what this kid is going to be. Just know it takes a village. One kid that you could impact, you don't know how that impact, what your influence is going to be. How they see you clean your house, how they see you prepare a meal. There's so many ways that we can influence each other, and it doesn't have to be, what is the end result? What are they doing for me? Ask yourselves, what are we doing for them? We have to be the ones that give back. How about volunteering in the community to help bridge the gap between local law enforcement? I mean, we know that's an issue all over our country right now. There's things that we can do. How about getting into the church, teaching Sunday school? Hello? Can I get an amen? Yes. I mean, some of us know the Lord, but some of us don't. And that's okay. I think, we all come from different religions, but figure out if there is a way that we can give back and bring someone to God. I'll just leave it at that. I want you guys also volunteer. People in math, taxes. People need help with their finances. You know, the old school finances where you have 4 jars, put a quarter in there for for your money and your savings and an emergency. Like, we need basic information about how to save our money and how to invest our money. There are some people who are in real estate and investment. Help, give back, share information. There's so much that we can do. Guys, we don't have to sit on the sideline and watch other people do it. I think sometimes we're in such a time of information that we look at the social media, we look at everything that's happening on the news, and it looks like those people are doing it. But it's not those people. It's just, yes, maybe you see television and cameras, but it's us. It's the people right here. It's the everyday people that have an opportunity to impact the lives of people. We have to recognize the importance of that. We have to ask ourselves, why not me? Why not me get involved? Why not me give back? I really want you guys to know that it's been more than a blessing for me to come here and share my time and day with you. I always try, and as you can see, I try to put God first in everything that I do, because it is an honor to recognize that I've been given a platform to use my voice, to hopefully to inspire others to think more of themselves and ask the question, why not me? Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Hall of Famer Lisa Leslie. Thank you, Lisa, for your time here at Oakland University. We certainly appreciate your being here and your deliverance of that message to us. I believe we have members of our OU women's basketball team who are present today, and I believe they have a gift they'd like to present to you, Lisa. We're going to try to gather around real quick for a photo, so if we can get right over here. Lisa, if I can have you stand right there in the center as we get ourselves organized. Thank you, Lisa. We're going to go right here, right here. Everybody right over here. Yep. So we can try to gather around, get in front of her on the side. Everybody on that side over there. Go on the other side, please. Other side, other side, other side, other side, other side. Yep, right there. Thank you very much.
That was pretty cool. Thank you, ladies.
So we do have some time remaining in our program. And at this point, Lisa is willing to answer a few questions from the audience. We do have microphones in both center aisles here. So if you have a question you'd like to present to Ms. Lisa Leslie, please come to the podium at this time.
To the microphone.
I'm sorry, yes, to the microphones in the aisle, not up here with me. All right. So our first question over here from one of our sponsors.
Hi, Lisa. My name is Sherry Nunberry. And I just wanted you to inspire some of the ladies in the audience, because I'm sure growing up, you dealt with some body shaming because you're so beautiful and tall. And people probably still say things that are inappropriate. And so can you just speak to that to some of the younger ladies in the audience? Being full-figured, I've seen some things that I think that are not appropriate, and I'm sure you can comment as well.
Yeah, I think when it comes to being different, we're all different, right? And so I think there is an exception to the rule when you're tall, that people are allowed to say and make comments that you wouldn't normally say probably to other people, right? So, you know, in dealing with it, I was really, again, lucky. My mom being 6'2", I'm 6'5", which is, I know, that's what I said, like, oh, Lord. You know, being tall pretty much all my life, my mom just would tell me things like people grow on the inside and some people grow on the outside, and our family's been blessed enough to do both. So you got to just keep your head up high and learn to love yourself. And I really think it just comes down to self-love, you know. Again, we didn't get in line and push buttons on what, you know, hair, nose, eye color, height, what we want. You get what you get, and so you have to be thankful. And I think just thinking about, you know, some people don't have legs or arms or different things, you know what I mean? And so for me to have such an extreme length, I had to learn to love it and love it early, and so I did. There was a time when I was young, though, people teased me. I got called olive oil, and people would say, Lisa, act your age, not your shoe size. Oh, that's right, they're the same. Because I was 12 and wore a size 12 shoe. But, you know, my mom also would give me little things to say back. And so, you know, I used to say stuff like, that's all right. One day my feet going to make me money. And so then I had a Nike contract, right? I'm still a Nike athlete. So, you know, God has a way of taking care of everything. And the thing I would just say is you just got to learn to love yourself and what you have, and look in the mirror, love yourself, that this is it. And, you know, I learned that early, and I've got really comfortable in my own skin. Thank you for asking. Yes.
Hello, Miss Lisa. My name is Dorothea Billy, and I graduated here from OU in 2012. And you're actually my favorite. Favorite. But my question is, recently they have made some changes in the WNBA and how the players have made more money. Do you think that's enough money that they have made in the changes?
I think, so what she's speaking about is that just recently the WNBA has got a new contract, and the contract is guaranteeing 6 figures, which is about, on average, $130,000 and up to $500,000 per season, which also includes maternity leave and full payment while on maternity leave, as well as travel, better travel and upgraded travel. As well as housing for the young ladies to have. If you do have a child, you get to have like a 2-bedroom apartment, and if you are traveling, the women now don't have to share rooms. I think it's a great step. It's amazing progress. I'm very happy to be alive to see that happen.
Right.
I think it's kind of funny when you start to talk about money in general, though, because on average, when you look at what the average American makes, it's an astounding amount of money to make for a season that's probably 5 months or 6 months. To be able to make $500,000 is great. I think what we have to not do is compare the WNBA to the NBA, because the league is almost 50 years older. And so when you look back at the time of the age of the WNBA and what the women are making, yeah, that is a great amount of money. And we're really proud of that contract. And hopefully we'll continue to see progress, you know, over time. But I'm very happy with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning,
You are
Lisa.
very beautiful, and thank you for inspiring me today.
Oh, thank you. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So glad to meet you. I'm so happy to be here. Hi, Sherry.
Hey, Miss Sherry. Okay.
Yeah, I am very happy to be here. I graduated from here with my master's and my PhD in 2003, and I got lost this morning. But I wanted to get here to hear you, and I love the approach you made, especially to the students and the younger people about choice.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we all have choices, and I hope that they listen to what you had to say, and I hope that they devour it and make it work for them, because don't let anybody tell you you can't do it.
Yes.
Find a way to do it anyway,
Yes.
because I retired now, and I'm in my community doing the same thing with the young people.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yes.
I said, if somebody asks you how you feel, tell them you feel absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And say it with, like, that's a choice, because you could say, I'm not doing good today. You could come
Yeah.
up with excuses. So I
Absolutely.
want to thank you, and I'm glad to be here back on campus. It just really changed.
Thank
and guess
you.
what? Guess what, fellow alums? I donate.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so we're the West Bloomfield, or we're some of the players from West Bloomfield High School, and we was wondering, when did you start taking basketball more seriously? Like when you started to like really develop?
When I started playing basketball in the 7th grade, which was the first time I ever played. I started taking it seriously in the 8th grade, and what I mean by seriously is, I think when you think about sports in general, sports, eventually everybody will know how to shoot and you know the rules and which way to run. But when you say seriously, it's a mental thing. So here's a little nugget. 10% of it is basketball. The other 90% is mental. I'm just mentally tougher than most people you'll ever meet. And it's a mindset.
Thank you.
So I told you that we are the strongest survivors of our ancestors, right? So you have to know in your mind you're stronger than most people too, but you have to believe it. And what that strength is a decision that you make that you're going to be the best. You're going to do your best every single day. What happens is most people don't want to make that choice because it's quite a sacrifice. The sacrifice is deciding that you want to be good. The sacrifice is that every single day you got to show up and be better and push yourself harder than everybody else. But I'll tell you another secret is life. Life, to be successful, you got to decide you're going to get up every day and work harder than most people that you're around. You have to plan. I have to sacrifice. I missed my high school graduation. I missed hanging out with friends. I've never been to a party when I was like in high school. I did go to my prom, but the sacrifice was that I wanted to be the best. I wanted to get good grades, so I did my homework and I played my sports. That's what I focused on. But I can tell you the benefit of it was by the time I was 24, I owned my own home and I had a car, which was a big deal. So it's about sacrifice and mental toughness. And sometimes, kids aren't willing to do that. I have kids. I have a 12-year-old daughter, 9-year-old son, and I have to tell them to turn the TV off and go. My daughter plays tennis. Go toss your ball. Go do this is what you said you wanted to do, so you got to go do it. You got to sacrifice. Turn the TV off. Get off the phone. Get off the computer. Sacrifice. Are you willing to make the sacrifice?
I mean, of course.
No, it's not an of course. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Because most people are not willing to. Yeah. And that's the difference in being successful is being willing to sacrifice some fun, being willing. Parents, everybody knows, everybody older, we're like, You have to make some sacrifices. And young people are not always willing to sacrifice their happiness and their fun to win, to work hard. But you can do it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, Miss Lisa. I'm Victoria Oglesby, and I just wanted to ask on behalf of the women's basketball team, how, as a female and African American, did you transition from a professional career in sports to a professional career as a businesswoman and leader and philanthropist in such a male-dominated and white field?
That's a great question. I'll try to answer that. I really honestly believe it started with the stories I told you about my mom. Like, why not me? Why can't I be successful? And I don't look at those barriers of being a female and being black as a negative. I look at it as a positive. Like, look, I have to be better. I have to be smarter. I have to be stronger. Those are just, that's the way it is. And I have to show up more prepared than anyone else in anything. So in sports, I don't want to just know what I'm supposed to do at the 4 or the 5. I want to know what the 1 is responsible to do. What is the 3? I want to know every position. I want to know what the coach knows. So you have to be hungry for information. You have to want to learn. And I have an appetite for wanting to learn. I think when it came to my goals, I would write down my goals. My short-term goals were goals that focused on what I wanted to do in school, my GPA. It also focused on what I wanted to do on the court, like whether it's averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, whatever it was, I would write those things down. But my long-term goals, I told you, were goals within 5 years. In those 5 years, I would write down, I wanted to get my undergrad degree is in communications, as you can see. My master's is in business. I think when we're women, we have to realize, I wasn't sure, the WNBA didn't exist when I played. So my thought was always about what am I going to do next? So I've always been interested in trying to figure out what I was going to do business-wise. Again, my spiritual gift was the microphone, so broadcasting was natural. Modeling I liked just because I was really tall and thin, and people always gave you compliments like, you should be a model. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me try that. I enjoyed it some. That's a lot of hard work, too, walking the streets and asking people to validate whether you're, beautiful or not is a tough thing to do. But also, I think, like I do real estate. I'm a licensed realtor, and that came from once I started to make money, I learned to investing my money into property. And so I think it's a matter of knowing that we don't have to be just one thing. And sometimes even our family, when we're young kids, say, what do you want to be? And we got to pick this one thing we want to be. And it's like, if that's what you want to be, that's what we don't have to be one thing. I'm a realtor, I'm a broadcaster, I'm a public speaker, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. Like I wear a lot of hats, and I do that because my mom told me I didn't have to be just one thing. But if I worked hard, I could be anything. And so I really believe that it's a mindset of we sometimes put ourselves in this box. You don't have to be in that box. You can play basketball, but you could be in the arts or be an actress. You don't have to be just one thing. And so I recommend writing down your goals. Short-term goals is what you're focused on for this year, but your long-term goals are, what do you want to be when this is over? What happens? I retired at the age of 36, I think. I mean, that's really young. I mean, it's old as a basketball player, I guess. But that's so young. Like 36 is like, I have a whole, hopefully another 80 years. So I have to, plan for life. And sometimes as athletes, we don't always get that message to plan for life. Like basketball or sports is one piece of what you do, but there's more to life than just sports, okay?
Well, thank you. I just want to say thank you for speaking to us and helping pave the way for us as athletes as well.
Oh, thank you. Good morning.
Hi. Oof.
It's okay. Take your time.
So I'm really into things like basketball and volleyball, but I have a slower reaction time than most other girls my age. And because of that, whenever I do something wrong, like I miss a hit in volleyball, or like I miss a shot in basketball, I get looks and like, why did you do that? Or it was yours. And what advice would you give for girls like me? Because I know I'm not the only one out there. So what advice would you give to us?
I think, honestly, you have to give yourself a break. Don't beat yourself up first. And then when other people, because sometimes it happens. I just had a talk with a kid in the gym at my son's basketball game who's good but made quite a few mistakes, but also yelled at all the other kids. And I'm like, you got to look at how you're making other people feel. So sometimes you have to recognize when you're in sports, right? Sports is like life. It's challenging. It's hard. It doesn't always go your way, and you sometimes lose. That is life. Sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. The thing you want to figure out in this space is who you are. How do you deal with adversity? Look at yourself in the mirror. How are you reacting to other people when they make a mistake? Because sometimes you have to give out what you want. When someone makes a mistake, go over and go, that's okay, good try, right? You start to spread that, and then after a while, when you make a mistake, someone will say to you, that's all right, good try, keep going, right? Because it's about camaraderie. It's about figuring out how do you inspire and uplift other people in those moments. You try hard, you work hard, you do your best. Now you have to also ask yourself, are you doing all that you can to be successful? You know what I mean? Maybe you have to do some extra things. Maybe you need to ask some of your teammates to meet you to hit some balls or jump rope, or you do a little bit extra, do some extra things that will help you have more success. But if you're not putting in the time, don't expect to have success if you're not putting in extra work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so you know what you're doing, whether you're giving it your all, whether you're putting in the extra work or you're not, but also it's about the relationships. And if someone is not being kind to you, then it's okay to say, hey, we should have a team meeting. Sometimes you pull your team together and just say, hey, you know, I'm out here, I'm doing my best, and I feel like some people are really negative towards me. It's not making me feel good. Communicate. It's okay to say that too. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good luck to you.
And I'd like to close our program by, again, saying thank you to everyone for supporting the historic Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award celebration through your presence here today, your scholarship gifts, and all that you do to continue the journey that Dr. King began. It's been an honor for me to continue to be a part of this ever-growing legacy of the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award celebration. 28 years now, y'all, 28 years. Before I close, I'd like to make a couple of announcements. Today we kick off Oakland University's African American Celebration Month 2020, a month-long series of special events, activities, and recognition of cultural and historical contributions of African Americans. We would like to invite everyone to the opening ceremony, which is going to take place immediately following the Keeper of the Dream celebration. That will take place in the food court immediately following this presentation. Ms. Leslie will also be with us there, so you'll have an opportunity to take a photo, to introduce yourself to her, and we should be down there shortly. You can find a brief calendar of the remainder of the celebration for the month, which will conclude for us on February 20th here at Oakland University. Please plan to join us at one or more of those events. Thank you for your presence here today, and enjoy the rest of your time. Thank you.